Well, it's Dr. Cherie Crosby Weeks, and I'm back for book talks. I think I have found the perfect book to kind of discuss for the next couple of weeks. Let me start the premise off how I got arrived at this book and some of the things that happened before the book. So this time of year is really busy with our middle state stuff, and I got to start diving into program assessment, and I'm starting to work on those course revisions for the fall. And I had already had a meeting with one of my students today, and she brought me um, some flowers, and you'll hear my cat; he's in the back. So she bought me a beautiful bouquet of flowers as a gift. She just graduated and she's making some decisions on whether she wants to continue in the bachelor program and which program she wants to be in. And so she wanted to give me a gift card, and she kind of tucked some money and let me know to not remember, to let me know that there was money um, in the flowers. And so I, I put the money in the front of my purse, not really thinking about, I just thought, hey, it's a small amount, it's okay. I'll put it in my purse wallet later. So I decided to move it to my wallet, and when I unfolded it, it was enough money for two books. So I was able to purchase two titles from Barnes and Noble. So I was just like, wow, this is really beautiful. And my students know that I really love to read, and so I, you know, mind you, I go off back. I leave to the college to go to the Breathing Room Foundation's open house. So the Breathing Room Foundation, if you're not aware, is a local nonprofit in Elkins Park that supports families in our area in southeastern Pennsylvania who are dealing with cancer. So from adults to children, they support families in many ways. And that's the Breathing Room Foundation. So I went over there, met one of my other students, one of my partners in volunteering, Natasha Moore, and we went there together to kind of, see their open house and see some stuff. Earlier in the day, I dropped off some boxes. We had some extra stuff from another volunteer event that I dropped off for the breathing room, and I did that this morning, and then we went back today. So we kind of walked through, and I'm seeing people that I remember from long ago, and I'm introduced to new people that I don't know that are associated with the breathing room. And both Natasha and I had an opportunity to take a picture. When you were there, you were able to say why you were there, and I was there for my Aunt Madeline, who has multiple myeloma. And so uh, during that time, as we're walking through, I'm thinking, hey, um, me and Natasha are talking about, oh, we could do this and this and this. So we're planning some things that we can kind of gather some students and faculty and staff to kind of support the breathing room through our next academic year. And 2015, particularly the fall of 2015, is when Manor College, really for the first time, we started volunteering and supporting the Breathing Room Foundation 10 years ago. So we thought, hey, it's a perfect opportunity to go big. So we have a lot of stuff coming your way. You'll hear about that later. So then Natasha, I said, well, Natasha, I can't drive you because Manor has this rule, and, I can't drive you in my car. She told me she lived around the corner. She told me that she's going to go to this creamery, and I forget the full name of the creamery, but it's in Elkins Park. And she says, "Oh, I'm going to walk there." So I said, "Oh, wow, I'll walk there with you, right?" So along our walk, a woman stops us, and she saw my name tag that I had on. She asked me, "Oh, or did you just come from the polls?" Now, today is voting day, so perfect question. Turns out this woman was connected to Manor. Who would have known? We had about a 10, no, not 10 minute, about 5 minute conversation. She was telling me what she does, and then she was saying she recognized me, and then she mentioned my colleague Mike Landis, and it was just really cool. I'm one of those people, I could talk to anybody. Then we leave her, and we say goodbye, and we're walking down the street and see these gorgeous twins, male and female twins, about 6 months, sitting out, either with their mom or their aunt or grandmother, just enjoying the sun. So we go to the creamery. I get the best raspberry sorbet that I've ever had in my life. Um, and then we walked back. And it was, back and forth is maybe a total of 2 miles. But what a beautiful day. I had a little bit of frustration during the day, but this was like, wow, this just offset the noise. So then I go to Barnes and Noble, and I've got a lot of noise that I have to deal with, right? And how do I deal with that? And what do I see? I see this book by Joseph McCormick, just published this year, called Noise: Living and Leading When Nobody Can Focus. I was like, and I didn't even really, I think I briefly looked at the table of contents. I think just the back and the front like sold me, right? And then I opened the table of contents. And let me just begin here before I kind of premise what I would like to do with this title. Um, Obviously, it has a foreword, it has a preface, and all that. But then it has part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. And let me just give you the gist of the titles of each of these, and why they inspire me to kind of talk about this book. And hopefully I can find some people that want to actually read it and talk about it. Part 1 is called Weapons of Mass Distraction. Right? Brilliant. I think of all the times I'm sitting in meetings, and sometimes it's me too, where we're just like, "Da, da, 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 da." People clearly have checked out, not paying attention, right? So I like how it starts with that. There's several chapters, about 4 chapters. One is noise, noise, so much noise. One is, we're going collectively deaf. What a great title for a chapter. Chapter 3 is Brain Basics. Are your penguins falling off the iceberg? That one I can gather is going to be an interesting one. And then chapter 4 is living in an info junkie crack house. Okay. Probably will be very interesting. Then you got part 2. Part 2 says the big tune out is coming. Imagining the unthinkable, 6 short stories to wake you up. And this goes from chapter 5 all the way through chapter 10. One is really focused around school, so it's always stuck at school. That's chapter 5. Chapter 6 is a misleading leader. Chapter 7 is the loss of civil discourse, which we've seen a lot of. Chapter 8 is a mind-filled momentum at work. Chapter 9 is 2050, a parent odyssey. And I think about, 2050 is not that far away. It's 25 more years. In 2050, I technically will be retired. So it's kind of interesting to think about that chapter. And then chapter 10 is safety briefings with near tragic results. And then part 3 is chapter 11 through chapter 15, has awareness management 101. Chapter 12 is take aim, set your sights on what matters most. Chapter 13, saying no to noise. Chapter 14, quiet time, restoring and recharging your mind. Chapter 15, present listening, a gift worth giving now. And part 4 is getting others to dial in, focus management, or FM 101. Brilliant, right? Chapter 16, obviously, is focus management 101. Chapter 17, wanted brief communicators. Chapter 18, communication like a magic. Chapter 18, preparing the environment for noise abatement. I need some of that. Chapter 20, herding cats, facilitating to focus more, fidget less. And then the last section is called Part 5, presets, simple programming for noise reduction. And the last 2 chapters are personalizing your presets, and that sounds wonderful. And then it has some stuff. And the reason I picked up this book is because I'm blessed and I'm cursed with really really, 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 really high tuned, good hearing. So when I wake up, and I wake up fairly early in the morning due to hearing um, the beautiful creatures of the world, including my cat, who make sounds at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And so I can hear several types of birds. I can hear the baby squirrels, and something else that's out there. In addition to if my neighbors are doing anything, and sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, depending on their shift. But when you're in a work environment, it makes it very difficult to do work and concentrate. So imagine me sitting in a meeting, I can be wearing headphones, listening to people talk on a Zoom screen and hear several other voices in the room. So if people are having a conversation in the room, or they're having a Zoom meeting and they're not wearing headphones, I would hear all those conversations. When I'm on a work Zoom meeting, if I'm in a Zoom meeting and there's people in the space, like it's a hybrid meeting, and I'm sitting in the room, and then I'm on Zoom, I hear all the paper rustling, tapping of things. I hear the whispering, the blah blah blah, all. And so it makes it very difficult, and sometimes very irritating. So it looks just like this for me. Like literally. So I thought this is a great book. And one of the things I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just want to point out um, a few things. And one is just the preface. Says, it starts out, can you stop the flood? And what is the flood? The flood's going to be different things for different people, right? He later goes on to talk about our issue as the humans, the inability to focus, and how attention spans have gone to non-existence, right? They don't exist. And people often say, I need this, I need my phone, I need this, I need that, right? So we're kind of disconnected. But the point of the book that he says later on is that this is an alarm that we should be paying attention. It's been blaring and beeping and beeping and beeping and beeping and really looking like this, but we've been ignoring it. And some of the things that it has produced, and I'm not going to read, he has a nice little bullet list, but I'm just going to highlight some of those that are related to what I do as an educator. So one is managers don't know how to talk to their subordinates. We've all seen that in workplaces. Sales professionals don't comprehend what their customers really need. Days are wasted consuming empty brain calories. What are those empty calories that you're consuming? And then we all have grown apart. And so this book, and then that whole section ends with, it's time for noise abatement. So it's time to reset and kind of reassessment. So the book, he gives you a nice graphic of how the book is organized. He gives you some ways that you can kind of read the book the way you want to read the book. And what's nice about the book is that each chapter has embedded in it different sound bite. He calls them, let me go back to that page. He calls them, let me just pull this back up. He calls them sound bites, noteworthy, and noisemakers. So you would have to buy the book to know what those mean. But I think it's going to be an interesting read. So if I just give you a taste, I will read one quote that's from chapter 1, and then I'm going to start reading this book in addition to doing some projects that I need to finish. But it's the quote is by Flannery O'Connor, and it says, "To the hard of hearing, you shout." Um, and I'm going to go from there. So I think that this is going to be my next focus for book talk. I think I've only done 2 episodes if I look at my YouTube. I will eventually get into this one, and this one is feel good productivity, how to do more of what matters to you. And what drew my attention to this one, and again, this one, it was the cover. I didn't really look at the table of contents, but I'm glad I'm looking at it now, right? And I'm one of those readers that you could sell me with this. A good pitch back here and here could sell me. But when I looked in this book, um, it is broken into 4 parts, and it's really about talks about the journey for productivity, right? And in the inside cover, it says the secret to productivity isn't discipline; it is joy. And just last night, I had won a previously in the spring, I had won a consultation session, 1 hour for free, with this individual, and let me get her name because I do want to honor her. And I'm bad with names, so please excuse me while I look at my calendar. Um, Her name is Aurora Chang Consulting. She has a consulting firm that she focuses on executive consulting and executive coaching, with particularly with a focus for women of color. So, one of the things that came up was the last third of my career, which I have arrived at the last third. Um, I have had 30 years of as being an educator. I have 15 more. I'll always be an educator forever. Even when I do retire from a full-time job, I still will do some teaching, some volunteering, something. But I do believe in ending something so that you can create something new. So the last third, what I've envisioned for my career is filled with things that matter to me most. And what matters to me most is being creative. What matters to me most is volunteering. What matters to me most is engaging with colleagues who want to do scholarship and think about our teaching and hone their craft, right? And kind of move forward versus backwards. And then obviously the last 2 things that matter to me, well, last 3, is seeing my students reach their goals, spending time with my cat, which I get that every day, but more importantly, finding time for my husband and I, because we have to live in 2 different spaces due to our jobs and a policy. I'm gonna leave it at that. But what's nice about this table of contents is it really is like uplifting. So when you've had a really like this is going to how you feel like right? Pick up this book, right? Just pick up this page. The page has 3 sections in the table of contents. There are 9 chapters and a last word, right? First, part 1 is energize, right? Chapter 1 begins with my favorite word, which I've been doing a lot of the last couple of weeks. Play. Chapter 2 is around power. Chapter 3 is people. The 3 P's. Okay. Part 2 is unblock, right? So we often get blocked by certain things, people, places, spaces, and times. Chapter 4, seek clarity. Chapter 5, find courage. Chapter 6, get started. Okay. And then part 3, which is sustain, is chapter 7, conserve. Chapter 8, recharge. And chapter 9, align. And then the last word says, think like a productivity scientist. And when I think about this, this is just flipping through this. It really seems to talk about how we can get back to what we want, right? And so this one will also be one that I don't know if I'll kind of do both of them or do one and the other, but I think I found my two books for the book talks I can dedicate to this. So I hope everyone had a great day. Every day, if I have a moments where I'm just like, I'm seeking to find offset. And today was walking with a student to go get ice cream, seeing two lovely babies, meeting a stranger, taking a great photo, are all great things to offset the busyness of life. I see it's 20 minutes and I have a 30-minute limit for the Microsoft Clip Champ. So I'm going to get off, but this is Book Talk session 3, and I'm going to call this journey into shattering the noise, or giving the noise some, right. So go to Barnes and Noble, pick up this book. I don't know. I don't know when it came out. It was in the business section, and I tend to, in my summer reads, pull books from the business section. I like to. There's a lot of books around leadership and communication that I like to read. So that's how I kind of discovered this.